And welcome from the great Pacific Northwest. Sasquatch in the background. Roll up the window. Okay. I'm a little bit teed off this morning. It's not unusual for the Dimmet to be teed off. It's the way I am. It's because I'm old and I've lived a long time and I know what's going on. I grew so frustrated this morning. I've given CNN News probably 4 days, ever since that Ryan guy who professes to be a Catholic. My God, he's no Catholic. You know, I taught that faith for 20-some years. I would give him an F without a hesitation. He misses the part about whatever you have done to the least of mine, you have done unto me. As he wishes to crush the poor and take away the people's... It's like they're calling this an entitlement, the Medicare. We paid for this, you know. I'm living on the public dole because I make $721 a month on Social Security after I pay $100 for my Medicare. And I'm a leech to society. I paid for that. I planned on it as my retirement in the stock market. Well, the stock market vaporized, so I have to depend on that. And I hear the Republicans say we need to do away with the EPA. The EPA, let me tell you something. I grew up in Los Angeles. When I was about 14 or 15 years old, when I walked out the front door of the house, I saw a haze. There was a mountain that we could see from our house, but I never saw that mountain until I was in my 20s because of the smog. That's what we called it. It was pollution. Now, the EPA was enacted and the smog went away. My eyes don't water. I can breathe. I don't get tired when I walk a few feet. You have no idea what this environment that we live in would be like if the Republicans had their way and shut down the EPA. The only consolation I've got is the fact that I'm not going to live to see the disaster that comes to this country in the near future. The tragedy, too, is they're talking about a pipeline to bring fuel down from Canada to the United States. Let me tell you something. I was here when they put in the Alaskan pipeline. I was doing a talk show, and I heard all the environmentalists crying about what was going to happen to the wildebeest or the possum or whatever the animals are. I'm not good at what animals go to what country. Maybe it's a kangaroo. It doesn't matter. But anyway, I tolerated it, and I said, yeah, it sounds like a good idea to me. Well, I was wrong on that one, because we never got a break at all from that pipeline. They ended up selling all of the oil to Japan. And when I asked, why is that? They said, well, the oil isn't the kind that we need. I don't know what's different about one oil than the other. But now let's put in another pipeline to help out the foreign countries. This bit now talking about Obama and Biden making the remark about chains. If you look in the dictionary, and this is the insanity of these lunatics, if you look in the dictionary, chains and shackles, see, Republicans can say shackles, but if the Democrats say chains, it's much different. It's not different. It's the same logic that causes these sinful would-be Christians that drive more people away from Christ than bring anyone to him, because by the very nature of what they do, if you're hateful and you're a bully and you push people around, you're not being Christ-like. And if you're not Christ-like, you can't be his disciple. It's that simple. If there is a God, sometimes I wonder. I know that religion is a past tense in my life, and it was my entire life. It was what my life was centered around, until the very religion that taught me to help the poor, to teach the young, suddenly changed all their ideas and told me, well, the Mormons are pretty good. We're going to give millions of dollars to the Mormons. People are born with 2 original sins. I can't take this garbage. So For the 50-some years that I was an active Catholic, actually I was baptized as a child, but I don't remember much when I was 2 or 3. The church that I taught, the things I taught were all wrong. The poor should be trod upon. Biden said that we would be put into shackles, but he said the word chain instead. What is a slave? A slave is nothing more than a person that works but doesn't get to keep the results of his work. I'm 70 years old, dying of cancer. I try to live on $721 a month. I use myself as an example because I know it's true. A caretaker I have a list of papers here that goes page after page of things that were stolen from my house. I tried to get a restraining order against the person. They were supposedly a caregiver. Among the many things, besides 3 saxophones, one of them appraised at over $3,400, were stolen. They dropped the charges without even talking to me. And they called me on the phone, almost smirked at me. What a silly fool I was to think I could charge him with stealing these things. It's maddening. One of the things he did is he signed a contract because he was using my identity and everything. He had my social security number, he had the passwords to the account, and he got me into a 2-year contract with T-Mobile. Do you know, my phone bill last month was well over $300. That's over 50% of my income. Now, I use T-Mobile as an example. I've been a customer of theirs for 8 years, and I've recommended it to a number of my friends. Well, I will never recommend T-Mobile to anyone again. The people that work there are nice, but the fact that I'm 70 years old and dying of cancer, and the money, that $300 they took, was the money that I needed to pay the copay so I could get treated for the cancer. So it's literally a death sentence. But they aren't going to bend at all. I've called them at least 8 to 10 times. Each time they move things around, but I end up with a bill of at least $120. The phone that this guy had 3 days after he got it was stolen. He had bought insurance thinking it would be replaced. Probably sold for drugs. But when he found out there was a $125 copay, he got someone else to buy him a cell phone. But I'm paying for that damn phone for 2 years. And it means the cancer treatment stops. I'm not even sure if I can get my medicine. I don't know what else to do other than to say I'm damn mad. But if you think, and I know of other companies that I've dealt with that are just as cruel and just as heartless, if you think these people are going to be better for you when you're just a consumer and no longer a citizen, you're nuts. I'm sorry there isn't a newscast that you can trust. You can't watch me because I'm a socialist. I'm a Democrat. I'm for the poor. I care about people, but I live and sleep with dogs, if you will excuse me.